relative to females. Now, I don't know if you could feel it in our society here in the Philippines. O sabihin na lang natin sa inyong communities, sabihin na lang natin sa bahay ninyo, sabihin na lang natin sa family. But most of the time, yung mas parang nagkakaroon ng privilege na status, o sabihin natin nag-i-enjoy ng benefits ng kanilang pagiging lalaki are those who are mga tinatawag nating lalaki kaysa mga females. And across the world, most of the societies particularly give importance to males. So yan siya ang isa nating tatandaan or rather makikita natin rather in our societies throughout the world. So next slide. So now having understand the concept of gender and power, there is a particular concept that we call gender-based violence. Now, gender-based violence simply means the abuse of power relating to gender. So, when we talk about gender-based violence, this is the unequal power relationships between male and female, which are the stronger or the more privileged status are able to exert its influence or power and exploit or abuse the lesser gender or the lesser privileged gender. However, it is important to take note that not all people with power abuse their power or their ability to influence others. So, acts of gender-based violence are based particularly on gender. So, when we talk about gender-based violence, basically, these are different things. This could be exploitations or abuse done to the specific gender or to those gender that have lesser power in the dynamics of our society, whether it's from the family, in your neighborhood, or even the society as a whole. Second slide. So, gender-based violence is an umbrella term for any harmful act that is perpetrated against a person's will and that is based on socially ascribed differences between males and females. So basically, anything or any acts that is committed by a person against another that is related to his or particular gender. It could be an abuse, it could be sabihin na lang natin na physical abuse or exploitation that is specifically because of the reason of his or her gender, that is gender-based violence. So next slide. So, while men and boys can be victims of some types of gender-based violence, around the world, most of the time, the victims of gender-based violence are girls and women or particularly women. So, sometimes kung titingnan ninyo, gender-based violence is often interchangeably used with the term violence against women because most women are often victims of gender-based violence. Pero hindi ibig sabihin yung mga lalaki, hindi sila nagiging biktima ng gender-based violence. Pwede din ang women perpetrator ng gender-based violence. But kaya nga, most of the time, we are discussing this gender-based violence as well as this concept of GRCM as the concept of understanding violence against women because women are put always or almost put always at the shorter end of the stick since they are often victims of gender-based violence. So kaya nga, gender-based violence is really, kung titingnan ninyo, use tawag ng gender-based violence, ang most laging nabibiktima niyan is mga men. Next slide. So next slide please. So kung titingnan ninyo here, this is a diagram that describes gender-based violence. So, the violence that are being perpetrated against women and girls are under the scope of gender-based violence. So, gender-based violence, of course, not only specific, like I've said, against women and girls, but it could also be done to other genders. Sabihin na lang natin, mga transgender, mga nasa LGBTQIA+, if they are receiving discrimination, abuse, or exploitation because of their gender, that is still gender-based violence. But for the sake of our discussion this morning, particularly on this gender-responsive case management, we will be focusing on the violence against women and girls. Okay, next slide. So, when we talk about violence against women, there are several definitions that we need to understand. So, according to the Republic Act 9262 or the um, Bausi Law na tinatawag natin here in the Philippines. When we talk about violence against women and their children, these are refers to any act or series of acts committed by any person against a woman who is his wife, former wife, against a woman with whom the person has or had a sexual or dating relationship, or with whom he has a common child, or against her child, whether legitimate or illegitimate, with or within or without the family abroad, which result in or likely to result in physical, sexual, psychological harm or suffering or economic abuse, including threats of such acts, battery, assault, coercion, harassment, or arbitrary deprivation of liberty. So anything, yun sabi na natin, types of violence, sabi na natin threats, physical violence like battery or assault, intimidation, as well as economic abuse. This can be considered acts of violence against women and their children. Now, in our law, sa bawusin natin, just a brief, sabihin na lang natin, overview about this law. So, if ikaw, sabihin na natin, most of our, sabihin na lang natin dito, yung mga participants are nasa female na gender or feminine na gender. Pag ikaw women or biologically female, naka-receive ka ng ganitong acts, sabihin natin, sir, ang basi ang bawsi para lang sa mga may asawa or to mga mag-living, it's not. So kahit sabihin na lang natin, you are getting to know with that person, you are still dating, and you receive mga different acts that constitute violence, you can actually be subjected into this definition of Bausi. So, sa Bausi, you need to also to take note na hindi lang physical harm ang definition ng ating VAUSI. So, VAUSI, kung titingnan ninyo, violence against women and children, pwede din yung emotional abuse. Sabihin na lang natin, palagi kang pinagsasabihan ng masama ng partner mo, you are being labeled, sabihin natin, pokpok, mga hurtful words that still constitute violence against women. Now, in a case that I have read, violence against women also can be form of cheating. So meaning, pag ang partner mo, lalaki, nakipag-cheat siya sa, sabihin na natin to other third party, pwede din yan mag-constitute ng violence against women. And there is a particular ruling na yan ha, particular ruling sa court na pag ikaw, you have been subjected to the effects of that cheating, whether it's emotional, physical, or basta cheating in general sa relationship, pwede ka talagang mag-kaso. That is under in the RA 9262 as well as in the Philippine jurisprudence. So yan siya, example of Bausi. So So kayo, pag nasa relationship kayo, of course, do be observant if you are able to see na yung sabihin na particular behavior, bawsi na ba? Or sabihin na lang natin otherwise. Okay? So yan siya. That is one definition of violence against women. So next slide. So when I talk about bawsi also or gender-based violence, so this is any act of gender-based violence that result in or is likely to result in physical, sexual, or mental harm or suffering to women, including threats to such acts, coercion, or arbitrary deprivation of liberty, whether occurring in public or in private life. Now, if you feel that your partner is very controlling, ayaw ka lang palabasin, ayaw ka lang bigyan ng pera, ganun, kasi nga, sabi na lang natin, he is making you dependent financially, that constitute also boxy or yan siya, violence against women. Okay, next slide. So, when we talk about violence against women, this is rooted in the higher value and status that males are given in society. This privileging of males is embedded in social structures, institutionalized and reproduced and as referred to as patriarchy. So this is a concept na medyo deep yung tinatawag nating concept na patriarchy na yung mga lalaki or particular males are being given importance, and because they are being given importance, this perpetrates their power to execute abuses, execute exploitation, exploit, or executes violence against the other gender, which is females. Luckily, here in the Philippines, hindi na masyado ganito ang kalaki yung concept ng patriarchy because females are already being given equal status as well as equal privileges. But do take note, it doesn't mean na that dito tayo sa Philippines, hindi na tayo nakaka-experience ng patriarchy. Even in, sabihin na natin, some communities or even in the smallest unit of our society, which is the family, there still exists patriarchy, lalo na kung ang mga lalaki ay binibigyan ng importansya, sila ang nag-hold ng power sa family. Especially if women in that family, they are not able to create their own choices, they are being put into, sabihin na lang natin, na parang particular position na they will just receive kung ano ang gusto ng lalaki, that constitute a characteristic of patriarchy. So I do suggest you research about this particular concept if you are want to understand the full gravity of patriarchy. But when we talk about patriarchy, of course, this is also related or deeply connected with the concept of violence against women because patriarchy is considered one of the main reasons why nagkakaroon ng violence against women. Okay? Sige. Next slide. So, if we have to look at the nature of BAW, hindi lang yung violence against women nag-exist at one place. It is a global issue. So throughout the world, there are different societies, there are different communities na kung titingnan ninyo, nagkakaroon ng violence against women. Kaya na kung titingnan ninyo, as part of Sustainable Development Goals, we are trying to eliminate violence against women by promoting gender equality and empowering all women and girls in order for them to be elevated in our societies and enjoy the rights they should have, since some of the societies in our world, sabihin na natin mga countries, hindi ganun talaga ang ka-equal yung treatment ng mga women against mga men. Kasi yung mga men mas nabibigyan ng importansya. Okay? Next slide. So what are the root causes of violence against women? Of course, like I've said earlier, power, the abuse of power. Kaya nga, if you could recall earlier, one of the important concepts that we need to understand in gender responsive case management is the concept of power. Because if one person has the power, of course, he has the ability to abuse it. So yan ang isa sa cause ng violence against women. Na the person has power and he is able to fully exploit this particular power against women. Aside from that, there is gender inequality, the unequal treatment between genders. Another cause is patriarchy, like what I've said earlier, and the lack of respect for human rights. So yan siya. Next slide. So, what are some of the contributing factors above? So, hindi porket tawag niya merong abuse of power, patriarchy, lack of respect for human rights, and gender inequality, yun lang ang what we call this, nagiging dahilan bakit nagkakaroon tayo ng violence against women. So, there are factors that may trigger the perpetuation of violence against women. Pwedeng contributing factors niyan could be alcohol or drug abuse, poverty, conflicts, collapse of traditional society and family support system, lack of police protection as well as culture of impunity. So yan siya. Next slide. So what are the different types or categories of vow? It could be sexual violence. Usually common yan. Example that rape, marital rape, or sexual harassment. So that is type of sexual violence. Pwede din ang violence against women could be in the form of physical violence. Gisagpa ka, gisumbag ka, gilaparo ka, gitadyakan ka, kay tungod nag-away mo sa imong partner, sa imong asawa, that is already physical violence. Nasabihin na lang natin, nasa dating relationship pa lang kayo, wala pa kayong asawa, hindi pa kayo nag-live-in, tapos sinampal ka kasi nga nakita ka niya nakikipag-usap ng sabihin na natin sa kaibigan mo na lalaki, red flag na yun. Violence against women na yun. So for the girls, do assess your relationship already. Kung sabihin na lang natin na pinagbuhatan na kayo ng kamay. That is already physical violence. Sabihin natin, may magwason yung lalaki, nadala lang ko sa emosyon, sa ilo ako, nabete, maghila-hila, ganon. Girl, red flag pa rin yun. Kasi nga, if that person, sabi na yung partner mo, nag-commit na yan siya ng act na ganyan, hindi pa kayo kasal. Paano mo na lang pagkasal kayo? That is already physical violence na yan. So, the moment kayo girls, naka-receive kayo ng, sabihin na lang natin, any forms of physical violence, run for your life. Huwag kayong sabihin na, I can change him, I can fix him, ganun. Wala kang ganun. Kasi nga, if the issue is not confronted, and mas uulit at uulit lang yan. Kaya nga, kung titingnan ninyo, we have this gender responsive case management to help women that are experiencing this what we call forms of violence na tinatawag natin sa violence against women, which is part of gender case management. So, sabihin na lang natin, kung hindi naman kayo naka-receive ng physical violence, another type or category of violence against women is physical, rather psychological violence. It could be emotional and verbal violence. Sabihin na lang natin, sinabihan kayo, nakita niya, kayo, makipag-usap ka sa kanyang, sabihin na, classmate na lalaki, tapos yung boyfriend mo, siloso, sabihin na natin, pok-pok, doon ka doon. Sabihin ka ng, at na ka talaga, ganun, nakapakpok mo. Pag sinasabihan ka ng hurtful words ng partner mo, lalo na pag nag-aaway kayo, red flag pa rin yan. Kasi nga, that is a form of psychological violence. You are being subjected to such abuses. Kaya nga, if sabihin na lang natin sa sabihin na lang natin sa relationship sa mga women ngayon na nandito sa klase or nandito sa loop natin ngayon. Pag inyong partner nakakapagsalita ng mga masasamang words, masasamang mga statements, lalo na pag nag-aaway kayo. For example, um, tawag nga, pinagsasabihin kayo ng bad words, that is already a form of psychological violence, a type of violence that is being perpetrated against women. Now, ibig sabihin, like what I've said, reiterated earlier, women are the only victims. Pwede din men, lalo na yung mga babae na kung hindi naman sila physically abusive, napakabungangera lang din naman nila. Lahat ng panglalait, lahat ng mga, sabihin na natin, pamalikas o yung tawag yan, pang-aalipusta through emotional words sa kanilang mga partner, that is also a form of gender-based violence. So, again, for the sake of our discussion, huwag niyong kakalimutan na when talk about gender-based violence, pwede din subject yung males. It's just that women, sila lang talaga yung nagiging most of the time victims. Pero yung mga males, nagiging victims din yan sila. So do take note also of yourself. Be self-aware kasi baka kayo din perpetrator ng gender-based violence sa inyong mga relationship. Lalo na pag may mga tao talaga na napakasiloso, napaka-possessive. Okay? In a relationship that is not love, that is already an obsession. Okay? Yan siya. So another type of violence against women is yung tinatawag nating economic violence. Making someone being dependent sa kanyang partner through what we call this through mga resources. Pwede yung money, sabihin na lang natin, yung partner mo, ikaw, sabihin natin yung female, walang trabaho, tapos yung partner niya na lalaki, binibigyan lang siya ng 1,000 for 2 weeks allowance. Sakto ba? That is a form of economic violence. So, kung ikaw, as a person, you are receiving just, sabihin na natin, a minimal amount of resources to control you, to control your activities by your partner, that is a form of economic violence. And in some societies, another type of violence is yung mga harmful traditional practices such as female genital mutilation and child marriage. In Africa, may mga tribes doon na tinatanggal yung mga female parts, particularly yung clitoris. Kasi ito daw yun ang nagkakaroon sa kanilang belief, sa kanilang society na nagiging promiscuous o nagiging igat daw yung babae dahil sa pagkakaroon ng particular na body part. So, in those tribes, tinatanggal ang kanilang mga clitoris kasi nga this will prevent the women from being unfaithful. Ganun daw yung kanilang belief sa kanilang society. Now, the effect of female genital mutilation can be very, tawag niyan, painful, lalo na pag nag-grow ang person. Kasi nga, in some societies in Africa, as early as bata pa lang, tinatanggal na. So it creates a difficulty in sexual intercourse as the individual grows old. So, yan siya, isa sa mga harmful traditional practices. As well as child marriage. Yung child marriage, yung sabihin na lang natin in some societies, nakikita niyo sa mga videos na bata pa lang, pinapakasal yung individual or yung bata, for example, 13 years old, papakasal sa 40 years old or 30 years old. That is harmful traditional practices that is perpetuated by societies that again deeply value the worth of men over their females. So yan siya. So I hope that is clear. These different types of categories of violence against women. So next slide. So yan siya. An example. So don't worry, I think the presenters naman will be providing this PowerPoint slide for you to have an idea on some of the concepts and the types of violence that a person undergoes from birth to his adulthood towards his end of life. So from birth, meron na tayo mga types of violence that experienced by women. For example, pag babae, inaabot. Ganon. Kasi nga, babae. Ayaw ng babae, gusto lalaki. Tapos, infancy, pagpatay ay babae, ganon. From girlhood, so these are just examples until pag tanda. So pag ikaw matanda na, minsan nagkakaroon ng forced suicide, nagkakaroon also ng physical and sexual and psychological abuse. So yun siya. Alright, next slide. So, what are the effects of violence against women? So, the effects encompass the physical, social, and emotional, psychological, and sexual being and functioning of the survivor. They are damaging not just to the body but to the mind and spirit. So, ang person, pag nakaka-experience ng violence, hindi lang naman yan siya ang epekto physically, but it could also affect his total well-being sa kanyang mental health, sa kanyang beliefs, everything that is aspect sa kanyang life. Nagkakaroon din yan ng effect sa kanyang mga interactions with other people, lalo na pag nagkakaroon siya ng experience with violence. So, most females, pag nakaka-experience ng violence, ito, marami talaga siyang effect sa kanya. Nagkakaroon siya ng impact sa kanyang physical health. For example, nagkakaroon siya ng mga bruises, nagkakaroon siya ng mga, sabihin na lang natin, alteration sa kanyang well-being, sa kanyang physical health, kasi nga hindi na siya kumakain, kasi nga pwede naman na dahil naka-experience na siya ng physical violence, matakot na siya magawa ng bagay-bagay o hindi siya naka-overcome ng trauma. So it affects also the physical health as well as other aspect ng life ng isang person. Okay? Next slide. So, kung titingnan ninyo, violence against women, especially yung mga, sabihin natin, mothers, hindi lang sila ang naapektuhan ng violence. Pati ang children who are exposed to this kind of violence are also affected emotionally, psychologically, physically, and socially. Kaya nga, sa law na yung RA 9262, hindi lang siya specific na violence against women. It includes also the children of women na undergone the effects of violence. Kasi nga, kung ano ang epekto sa women, sa sabihin na lang natin, sa violence na nila experience, times 2 pa yan ang epekto sa kanilang mga children sometimes. Okay? Sige, next slide. So, So here now, papasok na tayo sa the concept of gender-responsive case management that we now understood the concept of gender-based violence, the different types of gender-based violence as well as its impact. So when talk about gender-responsive case management, lalo na tayo social worker, this is a process of coordinating and providing direct services to women and girl survivors that, next slide, starts from the recognition of gender biases against women and girls in the home and community and society. So when I talk about gender-responsive case management, tayo as social workers, this is almost the same with our helping process or the same as doing case management. But specifically, we recognize that there are gender biases that is experienced by women at their home, at their community, or in the society as a whole. Next slide. And tayo, when we talk about gender-responsive case management, we view the issue of violence of women and girls as a violation of their human rights. So that is, kung titingnan ninyo, yung gender responsive case management. Okay, next slide. Now, in gender responsive case management, next slide, please. We pursue empowerment as the goal of the healing partnership and service delivery where the woman sees her values and status in relation to herself in the family and in the society and address the victim survivors immediate needs and long-term needs. So basically this is almost the same with any other gender or rather any case management that we do. But specifically in gender responsive case management, we take into account the experiences that a woman have experienced particularly on the violence that he or she have been subjected to, in which as we try to help that woman navigate this what we call these experiences through the helping or through the navigating through our case management, we'll be able to empower that woman na na-experience ng gender-based violence in order for him or her to overcome that experiences and view his or her self na siya is not supposed to be experiencing such abuses or exploitation. Okay, next slide. So, in doing gender responsive case management, we have three perspectives. First one is looking at the human rights perspective. So, when we talk about human rights perspective, we define it as such as this. Women, like men, have inherent, interrelated, indivisible, and inalienable human rights, including the rights to a life free from violence. Isa yan siya sa mga perspective natin when we are using gender responsive case management, the human rights perspective that women have human rights, hindi lang yung mga males. So the focus is the recognition, protection, and fulfillment of women's human rights by duty bearers, and the creation of an enabling environment for the exercise of fundamental human rights by right holders. Ayan siya. So next slide, another perspective of gender responsive case management is strength perspective. So there is a recognition of the strength of a woman in the form of their talents, their abilities, competencies, exercise their rights, empower themselves, and to resist against violence and recover or heal from trauma by using their strengths. Okay? So the focus is, of course, looking at the strength of the woman, the exercise of their self-determination, and the acts of resistance to violence, and the collaboration and partnership between the woman and the case manager o yung tinatawag nating worker. So we are looking at the client CPR, the competence, capacities, and courage, the promise, the possibility, the positive expectations as the gender perspective. So we are analyzing the impact on gender on policies, programs, projects, and how it imposes obstacles to people's opportunities and development. So the focus of this is to look at the impact on gender on social relations, particularly in forms of discrimination against women, and how it can facilitate and constrain survivor of violence from exercising their rights, from recovery and healing, from access services and other entitlements. So basically, these three perspectives, when you become the case manager, since kayo, social workers in the making, hopefully, when you become social workers in the near future, you will be using this gender responsive case management, especially in dealing with women who are experiencing abuses, exploitations from their partner. So yan siya ang isa niyong tatandaan when we will be using this gender responsive case management. We have these different perspectives. Bakit nagkakaroon ng gender-based violence? Bakit nagkakaroon against ng violence against women? And how we could help women who are experiencing such violence through this use of gender responsive case management. Okay, next slide. So there are several approaches in violence against women, especially we are doing gender responsive case management. The first one is yung tinatawag nating multi-sectoral approach. So pag tayo as caseworker using gender responsive case management, so when you respond to different VAU cases, we understand that we social workers cannot do it alone, and it requires multidisciplinary approach or team to help fully the client or fully help the woman who are experiencing what we call this gender-based violence. So social workers, pag sinasabi natin multi-sectoral approach, we coordinate with others or other professionals that would enable us to help fully the victim of gender-based violence, such as medical personnel such as doctors, nurses, sino yung makakatulong sa particular na woman, pwede ding lawyers, psychologists, police, barangay VAO desk officers, and other necessary personnel that would enable us to empower or to help the woman na ma-overcome yung experiences niya with regards to violence against sa kanila. Okay? So yan, multi-sectoral approach na tayo as social workers, we are just one part of the help. But we need to help the woman by linking with other na mga other sectors that could fully help the survivor or the female victim of violence. So yan siya. So that is an example or brief, but overview of how multi-sectoral approach to bowel prevention and how we respond also with those who are victims of bowel. So I will not dive this one deeper because again, if we really want to understand gender-based, or rather gender-based, gender responsive case management, kailangan talaga natin yun siya na 5-day training. Yan siya para mas maintindihan ninyo paano yun siya gagawin. There could be several there are several exercises para mas maintindihan nyo to. So what we have right here right now is just giving you a brief overview on this topic of gender responsive case management. Okay, next slide. So So in the multi-sectoral approach, roles and responsibilities can be divided into the nature or scope of the services provided by each organization. Referrals should be clearly defined to prevent unnecessary back and forth of the survivor, which only delays medical attention or worsen his or her situation. So ikaw as a social worker doing a multi-sectoral approach, you need to understand ano yung mga different roles na ginagawa ng mga different sector para matulungan yung kanilang mga um, sabihin na lang natin clients or yung mga survivors ng BAW or violence against women so that they will be able to really get the necessary attention and help na hindi na sila parang mas matagalan yung help na what you call this help na kinakailangan nila as well as hindi na sila magbalik-balik as well as magkaroon sila ng negative experience with regards to the help that we do for them. So, siya. Next slide. So another approach in what we call violence against women, especially when we are doing gender responsive case management, is yung community based approach. So this seeks to empower individuals and groups by providing the knowledge and resources and skills they need to effect change in social and gender relations in their own communities to address gender-based violence. The purpose is to collectively bring about social change and justice by working with communities. Particularly when we talk about community-based approach, we are looking at changing the dynamics of the society by changing how things work by possibly addressing the issue of patriarchy through um, helping change the perspectives on how they deal with things in their society or in their communities, lalo na pag-deal ng women. Kasi nga, in community-based approach, what we do is we use different resources such as the knowledge of different professionals, such as the use of different resources na magkaroon ng empowerment ang women, as well as katong mga other members ng society, particularly men, ma-understand po nila na women are not their accessory. They are partners for creating change, creating a better society, not just, sabi na lang natin, tool na pwede nilang gamiton, na dispensable, na pwede nila siya i-exploit in order to elevate themselves. So yan siya, we do when we do community-based approach, lalo na pag ikaw case manager, using gender responsive case management. Okay, next slide. So, in community-based approach, communities can and should be involved in actions to stop vow through, like what I've said earlier, popular education on human rights, especially in women rights, among the duty bearers, compliance with the provisions of Magna Carta for women, such as the creation of barangay anti-vow desks and organizing anti-vow advocates of women and men. So yan usually when we do community-based approach. Next slide. So we have also survivor-centered approach when we are using gender-responsive case management. So the emphasis is on the survivor deciding for themselves, assisting them to secure access to and control over needed resources and to acquire knowledge and skills to function independently. So in the survivor-centered approach, when we use this in gender-responsive case management, we try to help the victim by helping them gain control of their own lives by providing them the necessary resources to overcome their dependency sa kanilang mga partners as well as to the wider society. Sabihin na lang natin na sila mismo they will be able to have a form of resilience against, sabihin na lang natin, sa mga impacts ng mga traditional way of doing things na nangyayari sa isang society that perpetuates this violence against women. So, yun siya. Next slide. So, in the survivor-centered approach, the survivors' active participation in all phases of the healing process is important. So ano itong healing process? Of course, ito yung tinatawag natin na the helping process natin sa social work. Ito yung tinatawag din natin what we call this, yung case management na ginagawa natin as social worker. By doing so, the victim of violence, particular women, reclaims the power and controls the manage to her problems and her life. So, yan siya. So basically, this is helping process, but the focus in is helping the victim, particularly victim of violence, particularly because of his or her gender. Right? Sige, next slide. So, what are the some principles of GRCM? So, first is recreate. So, or rather, the recreate, so this is an abbreviation. So, R denotes for respect for the inherent woman, a worth rather, and dignity of rights of the woman and girl. So, next slide, letter E equality of women and men. So to pursue gender equality and women's empowerment, the social worker or the case manager using gender-responsive case management must be personally and professionally believe in and be committed to the achievement of equality between women and men. So ito siya ang mga principles that we do or that we need to understand when we are using GRCM or Gender Responsive Case Management. Next slide. Um, uh, Confidentiality. So the survivor's right to privacy should be respected and observed. So case-related information is not to be shared with anyone outside the professionals involving involved in the helping process unless authorized by the survivor, in the case of minor rather, her duly authorized guardian. So this is almost the same with the concept of principles natin in social work, which is confidentiality. So next. Another R. Next slide. Reflexivity. So the social worker is aware of and regularly reflects on the ways in which her personal and professional values, beliefs, and conduct positively or negatively influence the healing partnership and make the appropriate changes. So, yung next slide. P, empathy. So this is a respect for understanding of the survivor's feelings, her psychosocial state, and her responses to her situation. So pag ikaw case manager, it involves your compassion for her and what she is going through. She is not scolded or not blamed for what happened or for what social worker may perceive as passivity in the face of abuse and violence. Kasi nga, sometimes social workers o yung mga case manager doing case management for the victims of survivor, sinasabihan pa nila yung victim na, sala, man pugunin mo ma'am. Baan, man good ka ay ka ma'am. Di ka kapugong sa imong ba. Karang tarawa, gikulata ka sa imong bana. In gender expensive case management, we don't do that. We don't blame. Wag na wag yan. Very wrong yan. Kahit sabi na natin in regular case management, we don't blame our victims. We empathize. We understand that they have been subjected into an unfortunate situation na wala silang choice kundi ma-experience to. So, one rule that we need to understand as social workers as well as being a case manager dealing with clients not only in this particular aspect of gender responsive case management but throughout the whole case management process is we don't blame victims. We understand what they have gone through. Okay? Pinaka-importante yan na principle kung titingnan natin dito sa gender responsive case management. Kasi nga, minsan yung victim of violence, yung mga women, madedemoralize sila pag yung tumutulong sa kanila, i-blame pa sila, sasabihan, sala, mangguday na ni mo, manggod ka kabalo mo, mo sabot sa imong bana. Sabihin natin, valid pa ng mga reason na it is not a reason for that woman or sabihin natin a girl to experience violence against their partner. Kahit gaano pa yan ka valid or legit yung reason. Because again, kung titingnan ninyo, may mga tao talaga na sabihin na natin, not on our side as social workers, mga regular people, asala man po na sa babae, kay tungod karang kuan kay siya reklamador kisyo na mo na nakulatan atam siya man pud para magugod siya gibuhat na mali. It's not. Once you become a victim of gender-based violence, you should be free from that blame. We should be able to empathize. We should be able to empathize lalo na tayo as worker kasi nga kung titingnan nyo, tayo ang tumutulong. Tayo yung nag-help sa victim. Let others say that to the victim. Pero tayo as a worker, we should not be the one na mag-put of blame sa atuang client or sa katong survivor of that violence. Okay, klaro? Sige, next slide. So, another principle is acceptance. So, Another, when we talk about acceptance, the survivor is a person with strength and frailties. And tayo, as a social worker, as a case manager, using gender-responsive case management, recognize this strength and weaknesses and commit ourselves to the healing partnership with the survivor. Okay, so tayo nagko-commit tayo, we accept na ganun talaga. May mga strengths siya, may mga weaknesses siya. And we use that to our own advantage in helping that victim overcome his adversity na na-experience sa kanyang life through what we call this life na na-experience sa life because of, sabihin na lang natin, gender-based violence. Okay, next slide. And in the one of the principle of GRCM is teamwork. We recognize tayo as case manager na hindi tayo alone social worker Superman. Kailangan natin ng kasama para ma-help yung clientele natin. So, when we talk about violence against women, especially the experiences that we have, it does not affect them physically, psychologically, physically only, but they will be also affected psychologically and socially as well as economically. So tayo, as social workers, we need to understand na we may need the help of other professionals, other people to fully help our clientele. Kaya nga nagkakaroon tayo ng team approach, lalo na pag we do case management or do gender responsive case management if we want to help the survivor of gender-based violence. Kasi nga hindi naman tayo social worker, doktor. Hindi naman din tayo yung sabihin na lang natin nag-enforce ng law. Hindi naman tayo policeman. Hindi natin yan magagawa lahat. Kaya nga, as one of the principles of GRCM, we have to rely also with other professionals in helping our survivor of gender-based violence. Next slide. And last but not the least, as one of the principle of gender-responsive case management is empowerment. So, decisions and actions are designed to help the survivors understand the social, economic, and political context of their situation of violence. It is an exercise of personal and political power and taking action as individual or as a group to deal with improve their situation of violence. So basically, one of the principles of gender responsive case management is we try to empower the victim. Kung before, wala siya masyadong choices, but by making our client or sabihin natin survivor na naa siya power to change her situation, he or she has strength, he or she or rather she has resources that she can tap to para matulungan ang kanyang sarili, we are one step closer on empowering our survivor of violence, particularly women. So yan ang isa sa goal natin or as well as principle natin when we help our victims of violence, lalo na when we are doing GRCM. Okay? Sige. So that's just a brief overview of what is gender-responsive case management. Miss Hinano, can you show yung parang PDF na sinend ko? Kasi nga, we have an example of tools na ginagamit when we do gender-responsive case management. So we have three types of tools kasi pwede pababa siya. So, siya, baba, dun sa mga attachments. We have this tool. Baba tayo. So, pagka mo nag-gender responsive case management tool, the first one tool that we may be using is yung Gender Violence Survivor Assessment Tool. So, this is an example na makikita niyo. Para siyang case study na ginagawa na. Pero, nakafocus on analyzing the perspectives or aspect of gender under relationship. So, yan siya. So, example, isa yan siya. Gender Violence Survivor Assessment Tool. ginagamit natin tag, we do gender, rather GRCM. So, down, tatlo kasi ito siya na tool. We have also the interdisciplinary gender assessment tool. So, we may be using, tawag niyan siya, ito siya, as well as itong last, domestic violence survivor assessment tool. So, when you become a case manager, lalo na helping victims of gender-based violence, lalo na mga women, we will be using these tools. Pwede ba basa na ba? So, meron tayong mga tool or interview questions para mas ma-emphasize natin itong paggamit ng mga tools. Yan siya. So, ayaw mo ka surprise when you become a registered social worker in the near future. You will be employed in the local government unit or sabihin na lang natin ang DSWD or sabihin na natin ang private organizations dealing with victims with gender-based violence or particularly violence against women. So, hindi na kayo new pag makikita ninyo siya. So, don't worry, the organizers for this tawag niyan, organizers for this training or seminar will be sending you also this these resources para at least you will have an idea how it is being done. So, itong mga tool, as much as I want to, like what I've said, discuss this one, syempre hindi natin siya magagawa ng ganito in 1 to 2 hours on. So, kailangan talaga you need to undergo training. Kasi nga, when we talk about gender responsive case management, this is a training talaga. So, you need to require from the start, ganun, may mga series of mga things that we need to do when we are doing this gender responsive case management na training. So, last na inatinan ko is 5 days or 4 days yung training when we do this one. So, para at least mahasa talaga kayo paano ba gagawin ito gender responsive case management. Okay.
Excuse po, Miss Valerie, naka-open mic po kayo.
Okay. So, I guess that's it for our short discussion for this just gender responsive case management. Hopefully, pagtatanungin kayo kung ano ang gender responsive case management, at least you have a brief overview or you have a brief idea what is this gender responsive case management. I hope this discussion or rather this seminar will help you understand a little bit of gender responsive case management, and maybe in the near future pag meron na namang gender responsive case management training, pag kayo nagiging registered social worker na, you will be, tawag yan talaga, kayo na din yung magti-training, kayo na din mag-undergo ng anong gagawin, especially when we do this gender responsive case management. So have a nice day sa inyo. Hopefully, this seminar help you give little knowledge about this gender responsive case management.
Ayun, thank you, Sir Brent. Lagari po, no? Sa napakagandang at very insightful na seminar ngayon. So guys, naaba mo yung mga questions para ma-answer ni Sir Brent po. If naulang mo, paki-type na lang po sa chat box. Okay, basahon lang po na kon. Thank you. Ay mo kaulaw guys ha. It is ang pag-welcome sa inyo guys. So ayaw mo kaulaw guys. Thank you.
Wala question? Sige.
Naa sir from kay Kuya Sherwin po. Basahan ko ha. Sir Brent, how can we promote gender equality for all while respecting the cultural and religious practices of our brothers and sisters na Muslims po in a way that does not offend or disregard ang ilahang belief po?
Now, that is a very challenging process kasi nga, of course, we need to understand that some societies, sabihin na natin, some group of people have their own traditions and culture. Now, what we can do is try to find balance on their tradition and culture and the idea of gender equality. Kasi nga, we could promote naman this what we call gender equality by again emphasizing on the aspect of human rights, yung mga basic things na dapat ma-enjoy ng isa ka human person na hindi naman na bumabangga sa kanilang paniniwala. Of course, again, that is a very challenging process kasi nga some may be resistant talaga sa kanilang paniniwala. Ganito ang mga women dapat ganun sa bahay, ganun. But again, no society is stagnant. No society is static. Some societies will be tawag na karang slow in tawag na sa kanilang pag-change. But again, tayo as a social worker, we should be able to advocate na hindi tayo na tawag niyan nagiging disrespectful na we are pushing our own agenda na it becomes annoying, it becomes tawag niyan parang daw disrespect sa culture ng iba. Slowly, siguro mga one aspect, sabihin na lang natin, for example, if we look into the history of other nations, lalo na sa kanilang women's right, women in some countries are not able to, sabihin na lang natin, enjoy the rights that we have here in the Philippines, lalo na mga women. For example, the right to vote. In some societies, women it takes years bago nagkakaroon sila ng, sabihin natin, the ability to vote until nagkakaroon na sila ng mga other na mga rights. So, kung ikaw, rather as a person, the advocate for empowering women, empowering the gender equality, kailangan talaga natin na we find first the common ground. Kung tingin natin na okay lang sa kanila ganito, sa kanilang traditions, sa kanilang teachings na pwede natin ipaglaban yung particular na sabihin natin right ng women, pwede natin yan ilabi. But first, we need to understand their culture first. Kasi nga, we cannot find a common ground if we cannot understand their own particular culture. Kasi nga, if we push na, dapat women ganito, that will become disrespect sa kanila talaga. So, importante, ikaw as an advocate of gender equality, understand the culture first, find the common ground na pwede nating i-work on with para again, improve the rights of women as well as other genders. Pero wag mong i-expect agad na magkakaroon talaga ng immediate change. Some change takes time, lalo na in changing the dynamics of society, lalo na sa mga societies that are very heavily influenced by their own traditions and their own cultures. But it doesn't mean hindi yan na sila nag-change. One way or another, nag-change din yan sila. So, it takes time. It takes a collective effort. Dili lang sa isa ka tao, but rather as a society as a whole. So, you need to lobby also mga key persons na will help you help the society understand na sabihin na lang natin ma-change ang kanilang perspective. So, pwede yung mga politicians, yung mga policy makers, lobby them, help them understand what you are trying to do for gender equality, and as well as help them tawag niyan pursue or tawag niyan create policies that will promote gender equality. I hope sa Mr. Sherwin that answers some of your queries on how we could promote gender equality against mga culture na without breaking respect for their tradition. Okay? Sige. Another question, if there's still more.
Sa second year and first year daw, ang mag-ask daw og question kay plus points daw ingon ni Sir Dan. Guys, ayaw mo kaulaw guys. I-type lang niyo diri o sa chat box guys kay basahon lang nako guys. Thank you. Guys, ayaw mo kaulaw guys. Dili man mi mamaak. Joke lang guys, wala di ay nag-ingon si Sir Dan. Pero guys, it is an opportunity na good guys ba nga mag-ask mo guys. Ayaw mo kaulaw guys. Uy, si Sir Brent na ni Ong. Mananalo tayo dito, Sir Brent. Uy!
Eh, sige lang kung wala namin yan nakakpan nila na at least na-understand nila naman. So, yun.
So, ayun guys, no? Siguro, si Sir Brent tadaan sa atuahan, nag-seminar, naging resource speaker na to. So, nasabtan jud na to, no? So, again, thank you Sir Brent sa pag-accept sa amo ang invitation. And sa imuha, Ma'am Jillian, thank you. Bisan sa mga busy schedule ninyo, and Sir Dan and Sir Mike, thank you po sa pag-attend. Now, Michelle, please, the virtual floor is yours.
Hello, madunggan ko guys. Good morning. Madunggan ko. So, good morning guys now. So, to express our appreciation to our esteemed resource speaker and all of you who actively participated today, we now proceed to the awarding of certificate. So first now, Ramon Magsisay please allow me to read the content of the certificate. So, Ramon Magsisay Memorial Colleges Incorporated, Pioneer Avenue, General Santos City, College of Arts and Sciences, Office of the Social Work Program, Certificate of Appreciation. This certificate is presented to Sir Brent M. Lagare, RSW, for sharing his wealth of experience and expertise as a resource speaker during the online seminar entitled Voices of Justice, Gender Equality for All with the theme Voices of Change, Barriers to Break, Empowering Social Work Students Through Gender Responsive Case Management on May 6, 2025 via Google Meet. Signed by Ma'am Jillian Abigail R. Mataak, RSW, MSSW, Program Director. A round of applause, please.
And again, no, thank you again, sir. Michelle, please proceed again sa closing remarks.
So, good morning everyone. So, as we come to the close of today's seminar on gender responsive case management, I would like to take this opportunity to sincerely thank our esteemed resource speaker, Sir Brent M. Lagare, RSW, for his insightful and thought-provoking discussion. Your expertise has helped us deepen our understanding of how to approach case management with sensitivity, inclusivity, and a strong commitment to aid gender equality. To Ma'am Lilian Abigail Armataak, RSW, SSW, Ma'am, thank you so much for this opportunity. We are grateful for your support and guidance for making this meaningful event happen. And of course, sa inyong mga participants, no, sa tanan na nag-attend dire, maraming salamat po for lending your time, listening attentively, and actively participating throughout this seminar. Let this seminar serve not only as a source of learning, but also as a call to action, reminding us of our responsibility as social workers to uphold ethical standards and to advocate for gender responsive and inclusive practices in all aspects of our work. Thank you once again to everyone for being part of this meaningful learning experience. Let us move forward with renewed purpose, compassion, and a stronger commitment to create safe, just, and empowering space for all. Good day and God bless. Thank you.
Wow, thank you po na sa lahat nag-attend. Ma'am Jillian, baka na ano po, i-istorya po sa ating resource speaker, Ma'am Jillian. Thank you. Naaba si Ma'am Jillian, guys. Ala, wala na si Sir Brand. Hello.
Napa ko. Okay.
Ay.
Off lang ko camera.
Ay. Well, yan ang nag-off man ka, sir. Na-miss ba ka na mo daw?
Eh,
Sir, thank you again, sir. No, kay wala man si Ma'am Julian, sir. Thank you.
Sige.
Sa
Bye, everyone.
Oy, sir, wait lang.
ano ba yay?
Saka tayo. Sa school po.
Sir,
Sige. Wait
school?
lang. Wala pa. Papunta pala ako ng school.
Sige, paparma mi, sir.
Sige,
Anya.
sir.
Sige.
Thank you. Bye-bye, sir.
Bye.
Finally.